Trends. They exist in every aspect of life, whether it's fashion trends, movies, or pop culture. They're everywhere. Trends also exist in every hobby, and with the popularity of social media, they spread faster than ever. Some trends are great and they can be a huge help for whatever you're doing, but some, not so much. So in today's video, we're going to go over some of the worst trends that we found in fish keeping and hopefully set you back on the right path to enjoying this hobby again, rather than stressing out over it all the time. What I'm about to say might sound completely ridiculous because I make my living on YouTube, but something I see all the time is people making videos about something in fish keeping, and then all of a sudden you start to see it everywhere. I could give you tons of examples, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to seem like I'm calling anybody out, especially when I would have to be calling myself out too. I guess when you think about it, it makes sense. You see someone that you appreciate doing something that looks really cool, it's only natural to want to do the same thing. This would be why you see athletes and celebrities getting millions of dollars to endorse products. They know if people see popular celebrities with their products, they're going to want them too. Believe me when I tell you, I want nothing more than to show you a filter and you then go and buy it from my website so that I can make money, but not if you're doing it just because I say so. I want you to buy a product because you need it, and me showing it to you helped you make the decision. Let's say for whatever reason, my opinion carries a lot of weight with you. And let's also say that you're a fellow bobblehead collector. Don't make fun of me. I know it's weird. Just stay with me here for a second. I promise you this is going to make sense. Maybe you're an NL East fan just like I am, and you remember Dan Kolko doing a post-game interview with Jason Worth after a walk-off, and this happened.
Jason, you've talked about people maybe criticizing your age coming into the season, and you've said you've had a little bit left in the tank. You're convinced of that. How do you feel just about the way that you're swinging it and what you've been able to accomplish over these last 4 days?
Yeah, those people can kiss my ass!
Thank you, Jason. Bob, we'll go back to you.
Let's hear it!
All good things must come to an end.
If you're a Jason Worth fan like I am, that's a moment you will never forget. And if I was to show you that the Nationals made a bobblehead to commemorate that moment, you'd probably say, hey, I got to get me one of those. It's just a bobblehead. If you put this on your shelf and somebody walks by and happens to bump the shelf and this thing falls on the ground and busts into a million pieces, there's really no harm done. It's just a toy. Again, don't be mean. I like toys. Now imagine I show you a fish like the bikers I just got and you do the same thing. You just go out and buy it. If things don't go well, it's a totally different scenario than the bobblehead. This is a living thing that could potentially be put in an unsafe or unhealthy situation. That's just not fair to the animal. Listen, I totally get it. Literally every time I watch a video from Serpa Design, I get that way. I'm like, I want to build this tank, I want to get these fish or this reptile. I mean, I'm just saying, just think about it first. Do your research, have a plan, and be prepared. We're not talking about toys on a shelf. We're talking about a living thing or living things. Being inspired is one thing, but when there's lives at stake, don't just blindly follow the leader.
Okay, this one should be fun. So let's do this. Let me ask you something. Do you take 2 Advil every morning just because you think you might get a pain or ache somewhere? Don't laugh. Think about it. I know for myself throughout the day, I might get an ache or pain or something that bothers me, and wouldn't it make more sense to preemptively take an Advil so that it doesn't happen? I don't do that, and you know what? I bet you don't either, because we've all been told of the effects it can have on our kidneys, so we only take it when there's a real pain. We don't take it just in case there might be a pain. So then why don't we use the same logic with fish? Why are we medicating fish when they don't even need it? We see a lot of people online suggesting medications in situations that don't necessarily call for them. If you spend 5 minutes looking through groups or comment sections of videos, you'll see people suggesting medications for things like minor injuries that would heal up completely with just some clean water and maybe increasing the temperature a degree or two. There's also people that dump a bunch of medications into quarantine tanks that have fish in there, and they don't even show any signs of illness or disease. So my question is, why do we want to expose our fish to medications when they don't even need them? Now, don't misunderstand me. Medications are extremely important and could be a matter of life or death in some situations. I'm not trying to get you to never use any meds. Sometimes you have no other choice. I'm just saying, if you have a fish that's perfectly healthy and shows no signs of illness or disease, it's not necessary to expose them to a bunch of medications. You should definitely have the medications on standby just in case you need them, but the key words are in case you need them. Don't put them in just to make you feel better.
I had a conversation with a fish keeper once, and I asked him, hey, how are things going? And he said, oh, I quit. I asked why, and he said it just got too expensive for him. I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, I started having issues, so I bought a new filter, and that didn't help. So I bought a bunch of chemicals, and that didn't help either. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to go broke, so I just quit. This is a super common story, and I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't something that I've done myself. It's an easy mistake to make. There's always something that can make things easier, make your aquarium clearer, or make your fish have brighter colors. It just seems like there's always something extra to spend your money on. But the truth is, you don't need all that fancy stuff, and you don't need to waste all that money. Sometimes the easiest way to solve problems is to slow down, take a step back, and do what the science tells you to do. Don't let me saying do what the science tells you to do scare you. What I'm saying is, a lot of times if you have an issue, if you figure out what's causing it, you may discover there's a simple fix that doesn't involve spending a bunch of money. Here's a great example. My tank is always full of algae. You can A, go out and buy a bunch of plecos, chemicals, and a UV sterilizer and sit back and wait. Or B, you can diagnose why you have an algae problem, and you might realize you just need to run your lights less, feed a little less, and increase your maintenance, which, if you think about it, saves you money, and the algae will go away much faster. And here's another one. I had a guy say this to me. My aquarium just seemed like it was always cloudy. So I knew I needed to add more filtration. I went out and ordered me an FX6. It was on sale for $300. Oh, that's cool. So how often were you maintaining your tank? Well, I mean, sometimes I would take a little bit of the water out and put a little clean water in. Oh, I see. Okay, so you do realize that if you had just maybe taken an hour every couple of weeks and cleaned your tank, you would probably have had a clear tank to begin with. Anybody got time for that? Oh, so you're buying a bigger filter so that you don't have to do maintenance. Yeah, that's right. You have fun doing your stupid little water changes, and I'm gonna go play video games. All right, let me know how that works out for you. I swear to you, that was an actual conversation, word for word. The point is, throwing a bunch of money at a problem thinking that you're going to solve it is not always the best answer. And trust me when I tell you, there is no better way to get you to quit this hobby than to spend a bunch of money and accomplish nothing.
This one is something I can definitely speak from experience. You're watching a YouTube video or you're going to a pet store and you see something you want, but you don't have a spare tank. So what do? You go and you buy more tanks. You get the new tank so you can get the new fish, and then a few months later you see something else you want, so you need to buy more tanks, and next thing you know, you've got 25 tanks all over your house. While it's really cool to have all of these new tanks and all these really cool fish, it's a sad day when you realize, oh my God, I have to take care of all of these tanks. Believe me, I've had times where I started to feel like it's a full-time job just taking care of all of my tanks. Yes, it's rewarding and I enjoy the work, but what happens when you have a graduation to go to this weekend and a wedding to go to next weekend and your tanks are all dirty? Now things are starting to get behind. The tanks are looking like crap and you're slowly starting to get overwhelmed. This happens to all of us, and it even happened to me a while back. It got so far out of control I had to cut back, and I'm even thinking about cutting back even more now. When it gets to the point where it feels like a job and all you're doing is taking care of fish tanks all day, every day, it takes the fun out of it. Trust me, resist the temptation of keeping every fish in the world. Keep it simple and manageable, and you will have a blast and enjoy this hobby so much more.
Okay, I know I'm going to lose a lot of you on this one, but I just want you to hear me out here. And I also want you to do something for me. I want you to understand that I am not trying to convince you to not buy from Amazon so that you'll buy from me. I'm trying to convince you to not buy from Amazon and buy from everyone else. Okay, here's the deal. I order from Amazon a lot. I order things like labels for shipping orders to people, camera and video equipment, and even bobbleheads, but I try my best not to buy aquarium products from them, and here's why. You think I'm gonna say if you buy something off of Amazon, you're taking a sale away from a mom and pop operation. And trust me, it's much more than that. So here's what happens. Let's say you're a company that manufactures a product, any product, and you want to sell it to as many people as possible. Let's say your product costs you $2 to make. You can sell that product to a distributor for $4 each. That distributor will then sell it to retailers for $8 a piece, and then the retailers will sell it for $16 to the consumer. Everyone makes a little cut, and you make $2 on each item you sell. But then you realize, hey, wait a minute, I can send my products directly to Amazon. They'll sell them for me, and instead of making $2 on each item, I can bypass the distributor and the retailer and sell them for $16 myself through Amazon. After they take their cut, I'm still making $12 to $13 each, and I'm doing the same work. It's just, instead of sending the product to a distributor, I'm sending it to Amazon. It's a no-brainer. All of this sounds fine, right? And it is. There's nothing wrong or unethical about doing it this way, except for the fact that it makes it absolutely impossible for retailers to compete. Think about it. When the distributor calls you and wants the product for $4, you're going to be like, psh, I'm not selling it to you for $4 if I can get $12 from Amazon. If you want this, you're going to need to pay at least double for it. They're $8 now. Well, the distributor needs to make a living, right? So he buys the product for $8, and who's next? The retailer. Mr. Johnson from Big Johnson's Fish Store calls and says, hey, I need some of that product. And like we said, the distributor has to make a living. So he says, oh, okay. Well, guess what? You have to pay double for it now. Big Johnson is like, well, if I have to pay double for it, I guess I have to charge the customer double for it. You see where this is going, right? First of all, no one is going to pay $30 for something when they can get it for $16 off of Amazon. You can see how this makes it impossible for fish stores to compete. Maybe you can also see now why so many fish stores' dry goods sections are getting smaller and smaller. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I called one of my distributors one day because I wanted to get some lights to carry on our website. And he said, yeah, I'm not going to be able to sell those to you. We don't even carry them, because you can literally go to Amazon and order those lights for cheaper than I can get them. I'm not going to tell you the name of the manufacturer. I'm just going to say that it is one of the big ones. And since I couldn't get the products from the distributor, I called that manufacturer directly and I said, hey, can you sell me these products? And they said, no, I'm sorry. You're just not big enough for us. I guess 1,000 orders a month is not big time enough for them. What is this industry becoming? I'm really sorry for all this ranting. Yes, this is how I make my living, but hopefully you can see why this is something that's incredibly frustrating for me. I hope you just get what I'm saying. I understand that free shipping and the fact that it shows up at your door the next day is super convenient. I just want you to know what it's doing to our industry.
Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I actually feel a whole lot better now.
Okay. So this one is easy, and it won't make you nearly as mad as what he was just talking about. It's amazing to me how fast things get around on the internet. Whether it's good information or bad, word travels quick around the internet, and if you're not careful, you can get sucked right into it. There's tons of good stuff on the internet. We try our best to bring you good information and steer you in the right direction, but even we've been guilty of saying things that might not be the best in our videos. Unfortunately, no one is perfect. We've seen it so many times where someone will say something on the internet and we'll be thinking, I hope that doesn't catch on. And 2 weeks later, everyone's saying it. The scary thing about the internet is there's no rules as to what you can and can't say. Someone could put something out there and the next thing you know, you start seeing a trend of others doing the same thing or posting about the same thing on Facebook. The biggest thing to remember is that everyone online is sharing their experiences with you. I don't care what their credentials are or how long they've been keeping fish. At the end of the day, they're just telling you what's worked best for them. So with that in mind, just understand if you're looking for information and you watch one video or read one post on Reddit and feel like all of your questions are answered, you might be making a catastrophic mistake. The advice I like to give is to watch a bunch of videos, read a bunch of posts, articles, and different books. Don't take one video as gospel, not even ours.
So there you go. I hope we didn't come across as too ranty or preachy in this video. These are just some of the things that we've been seeing going on in the hobby, and we just wanted to make you aware of them. Also, I forgot to mention what I think could be the best trend in the fish keeping hobby, and that is subscribing to our channel. That might be the best trend ever. Anyway, this was so much fun. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye.